my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
Hello out there. This is Ben Dickerson. I support the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings, and I'm also a fantasy geek. So now, if you play fantasy football, these next 2 weekends is going to be a big, important time for you to stay focused on your drafts, especially if you play in money leagues. These next 2 weeks, that's what's going to be going on.
All right. Yeah, fantasy. Ben does fantasy. I do Madden. As a matter of fact, I'm going to run some of the clips. You'll see some clips as I have my fun with my Niners running in the background. You probably won't see them because my big head's going to block most of it, but that's okay. It's the new game, Madden 20, that's out. I'm off the pup list, Ben. I'm back practicing again. I'm back on the field. Just working on my game. And some of the thoughts, especially as I watch the preseason, and I'm working on my own preseason, is very interesting correlation. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. We want to talk about week 2 of the preseason, NFL preseason, a little bit about week 3 of the NFL preseason, a few miscellaneous points that we shared on our social media. And as usual, we might have a rant or two, or at least I think I have a little something to say that this week. So I hope I can get that. Hope I can be clear and concise in my thoughts. All right, let's take a quick look at some of last week's game. I want to start with, let's see here. I want to start with the Green Bay Packers and the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens won that game 26-13. You had a few. Let's see who did what here in this scoring. Field goal. Pass from McSorley. We talked a little bit about McSorley last week. As a matter of fact, there was something, I don't know what it was that brought them together, McSorley. Oh, I know what it was. The running back for the Eagles. We just talked about him.
Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders were together for whatever reason.
They played at Penn State together.
Oh, yeah. But
also back when Miles was backing up Saquon.
Okay. So you have a 7-yard pass from T. Boyle, and then it was field goal. I don't know. I had a sense that there's been a lot of missed field goals in the
Really?
Yeah. Now I haven't had a chance. I've been meaning to sit down and try to pull together those stats. I started it, but I didn't finish it up. But if you watch any of this, and let me know if you're getting that feeling. I did read an article that also said that the use of the 2-point conversion is on the rise. So, we saw that in the AAF. Everything was a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, it was actually a rule in the AAF.
Right.
But the trend of it going up in the NFL has already started. Some teams are really fully committed to it. So it makes sense that it would probably go up in usage this season.
All right. So that was an interesting game. The thing about that game that stuck out to me as far as Lamar Jackson was concerned, everyone raved about his run. I mean, and there was a point where he took off, and I mean, as he was like running up to the goal line, the Packer guy kind of dived down him. He just like stepped over him, all nice and easily. I mean, just made it look like this is cake. It almost reminded me of when Kaepernick came out in that game against the Packers and ran all over the Packers like they really weren't quite sure what to do with him back then. The thing that was funny is that if you listen to the media, they're all talking about how awesome the run was. One guy I saw on Twitter, and I had to echo what he said, was he had like 3 people open. They're all running around and he just
This is supposed to be the big experiment, right? This is supposed to be the brand new, revamped Ravens offense suited to him. So, I mean, remember now it's preseason, but you don't want him just running out there willy-nilly.
I didn't, especially in the preseason game, and I thought he was going to run out of bounds but he didn't.
Let me say this. Okay, it's a pass play. People are open. Either he doesn't see them, which is a problem, because if the coaches say they were clearly open, if they show the replay and we can see that they're clearly open and he's missing it, that's a deficiency in his game that he's supposed to be working on, because they want him to become a better pocket passer or a better passer from the pocket, okay? Now, if he takes off and run, I'm not going to be one of those people that says, oh, he shouldn't be running. He could get hurt. The more he runs, look at Cam, da, da, da. In case you haven't noticed, this dude is special. This dude has Kaepernick's body, but he has Michael Vick's moves. This is a special guy. It might be 3 seasons before we see him actually get hit hard.
Let me repeat what you. A Kaepernick body.
Yes.
Michael Vick's legs.
Moves. Yes.
Kaepernick body, Michael Vick's moves. Okay.
Right.
All right.
What?
No, I'm just saying. Go ahead.
First of all, he's taller. He's the same build as Kaepernick, maybe even a little slighter up top, okay? But he moves with the fluidity of Michael Vick that Kaepernick didn't have. Is that clearer?
Hey, I'm listening.
I agree.
I think it's an amazing. And
I mean, can you see it?
I can see it, but you know something? I'll be quite honest with you. Kaepernick was struggling in his last year or so with that whole pocket issue. He wasn't, when he came out and they would do, and when what was the brother to the Ravens coach? He's now at Michigan.
Harbaugh.
And Harbaugh was there, and Harbaugh was running a lot of that stuff that worked for Kaepernick. But then when Harbaugh left,
right, the new coach came in,
sure,
and he didn't take care of business.
He wasn't looking real great,
But that's not going to happen with them.
Oh, it's not.
This is a whole different thing going on here in Baltimore. First of all, the coach has made a commitment. He's got the offensive coordinator that he wants. He's not getting fired. He's not going nowhere. They're going to put this offense in, and they're going to make it work. Just he is. I hate to say like a free spirit. Michael Vick took off a lot when we were like, no, yay. Okay, you're going to get a lot of plays like that from him. A lot of them.
Greg Roman, offensive coordinator.
Right.
You think he's the man to put together the plan?
I don't think it. He is it.
We shall see. All right. Moving right along here. Like I said, when I saw how many people were, the thing about the open people were that they were probably 3-step drop open. I mean, they were open pretty close, like 6 to 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. Like you just drop back, boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? So he really could have had put a lot of his teammates into play in really good positions to pick up some nice little yardage and keep drives moving. He scored on it. It looked great. But that is only going to, that's going to wear thin during the season, I say. All right. Moving right along, let's talk about my Niners and the Broncos. Let's get that out now. My Niners. What? I see you shaking your head no. What's the problem?
Oh, yeah. Only you can see me shaking my head. First of all, they play Denver. Okay? So the poor, forgotten Joe Flacco is in Denver. And Von Miller is still in Denver. And they seem to have something going there in Denver that people weren't expecting. Their defense is not bad at all. It's not just the Von Miller show. And Flacco, he's got to have a huge chip on his shoulder after getting let go like he did. And then being threatened in the draft by Drew Lock. So that's out of the way because he broke his hand. So nothing bothering Flacco right now. I expect to see a pretty good season out of him. And I thought he looked pretty good in his limited time in that game.
What's the other defensive DN on the other side? Chubb, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Denver?
Yes.
First of all, I told you last year that as far as I was concerned, our offensive line across the board was weak. Even if you look at the man ratings, we got like 190 rated guy, and then everybody's in the 70s, and so none of this, we don't have that hardcore line, and that I don't think was upgraded as well as it should have been, especially when you had your starting quarterback coming off a knee injury. I don't know what that mix of line was, but they were not exactly making him comfortable in the pocket. And we talked last week about the tendency in the preseason for teams to blitz. I don't think Denver was blitzing a lot, but we sure were having a hard time handling those ends and that rush. So he was feeling the pressure under the gun. I tweeted, he doesn't look like he's 16 days away from being ready for opening season. To be quite honest with you, Nick looked more ready for that environment, the chaos of what was going on with that line and everything, and more comfortable dealing with that than what Jimmy G did. So, that's somewhat of a concern, especially when they said he'd thrown 5 interceptions in practice that week. So, yeah, everybody.
It's just practice.
That's what they were saying. It's just practice. But then you could come out and see why he would throw those interceptions. Our defense looked pretty good. We won the game. It was a 24-15 win. Your boy Mostert got off. And our run game really helped. Our defense played pretty decent. I don't know why they have Pettis returning kicks. I thought that was your number 2 wideout. I've seen him back.
I've seen Odell bring back kicks. I've seen Deshaun bring back kicks. Teams do it.
Why? I mean, number
because
one,
he's their best chance to take it all the way.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then you tell me why.
Be quite honest, I like Mostert.
No. You're not the coach. You just asked me why did they do it. I don't know. I told you why I thought. You said no, that's not right. So you tell me why they do it.
I don't know why they do it, but in my estimation, Pettis is not giving you a better chance of a bigger return, etc. Especially when you look at the board. Than Mostert, for example. Mostert. I mean, he's the third running back, so you can put him back there because he's only going to come in certain situations. You got plenty of running backs. You can put him back there. I do it all the time. The he can do everything. He's got the moves. He's got the speed. He can take the hits. He breaks tackle. I mean, Pettis is a wide receiver.
Let's remember, that's Madden. I've seen him play.
If you didn't see the game, you didn't see him run the ball. He runs the way he runs in that game. It's the same thing. He has those attributes. If you looked at the game, you'll see he has those attributes. You give him a little space, he's out.
So you see no positive at all in having Pettis run back kicks?
I see a risk reward too high on the risk side than on the reward side. That's your number 2 wideout. Yeah, you might have put those other guys back there.
This team just put their starting quarterback coming back from a serious knee injury, in a meaningless second preseason game.
You have other guys. You got other guys, Richie. You got a number of guys that have a little bit of speed that could be returning the ball.
Yeah, but they know that.
Number 2 wide out.
But they know that.
Who knows that?
The 49ers coaching staff knows that.
Which is why I'm questioning that decision. You might be backing it. I'm questioning
so
it.
Here we are in that situation again where there's like about 6 dudes sitting in a room whose combined salary would make me throw up, okay? And they're making a decision on this particular situation that this is their job, this is their livelihood, this is what they come up on, what they've been brought up on, what people have seen them do and have since hired them and then rehired them. And oh, we want him now, okay? For them to make a mistake, and I'm not saying it's not a mistake, don't get me wrong. He goes out there, listen, if he's running back a kick and gets his ankle twisted or something, that can happen to anybody. So I'm not saying, the only way you prevent that from happening to him is don't put him out there. But if he's out there, you take that chance. But you're making it sound like this is like the kid up the street could make this decision. You're not with them every day. You don't see who's the guy that catches the kicks the best. Who's the guy that has the best first move off of catching the kicks? Who's the guy who has the best breakaway speed? These are all components that go into making a decision about who plays where on your team. If they feel like he's the best returner they have, they're going to play him. And they may not play him all the time. They might play him here and there. Oh, there he is back there bringing back a punt, but not a kickoff. Maybe the next punt, he's not out there. Maybe it's a field position situation. They want him out there. You don't know. Just because he ran back a kick in a meaningless preseason game means nothing.
Well, you know something? I completely disagree with you. I think it means something. And also,
exactly. I got you. It does mean something. But what does it mean, man?
I think when it means, number one, is that you're maybe missing out on an opportunity to really develop those people who are going to be your return people.
You guys have been trying to develop the return guy since you had Ted Ginn.
You should be developing your return game, figuring out who's going to be your return man. And if
they did.
He ain't going to be the return man.
Then why are we talking about it?
Because it looks stupid, and that's my whole point. You want to talk about how much they get paid, like they got a pedigree or something, and then you say
they do.
Maybe
they do
make a mistake.
They do have it. That's not a mistake.
My opinion.
6 people.
My opinion. It's a
6
mistake.
People sat in a room and hashed this out.
A, you could get Pettis hurt.
6
B,
professionals.
You're not giving the guys who are going to be returning the ball an opportunity to be developing in that game in the preseason. So I think it's a mistake. We can move on because we obviously disagree. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. 24-10 Eagles. We talked about the running back. You had some points that you were making on that.
Just that I've been hearing a lot of, since we're here in Philadelphia, been hearing a whole lot of talk about Miles Sanders. I like Miles Sanders. I liked him at Penn State. I'm a bit of a Penn State fan, so I watched him. I watched him when they used him sparingly when he was running behind Saquon. And I was hoping that he would have a good season once he became the starter, and he did. I think he's going to be a good pro. I guess, you know what? I take that back. I understand. It's a bit of fandom. It's not like the guy stinks. It's not like he fumbled 3 times. He looks good, and he may prove to be a really good back in the NFL. It remains to be seen how the Eagles coaches use him in a committee, because they're going to use a committee. You know that. They kept Sproles on, so he's going to be used. Corey Clement is now healthy. Is that correct?
That's what I'm being told.
Okay, he's going to get used.
So let me just run. And as far as rushing, I'm seeing on the Eagles side, B. Scott, 7 attempts, 43 yards, 6.1 average with a 20-yard long, 1 touchdown. And your boy Miles Sanders, 5 attempts, 31 yards, 6.2 average. Hit a 16-yard and no score. Darnell Pumphrey, 5 for 29, 5.8. The Eagles, they had a pretty good run day. Howard only ran 4 times 15. He had the lowest on average, other than Kessler, who ran, and that's just the quarterback.
Right. I didn't even mention Howard. Okay. So the Eagles basically have 4 running backs.
Easily. I mean,
and Howard's the only one who's not really a pass catching threat. So we have to see how good each guy is as he fits into the committee.
Absolutely. And, and that's how they run it. An interesting thing when you look at the Eagles coaching tree and the way their coaching is set up. Who's the running back coach? Former Eagle running back? Deuce. He's now the assistant head coach.
That is correct.
And we've talked a lot about how they use their running backs. It's almost like, on a certain play basis. In these plays, this guy's in. These plays, this guy's in.
It took him a couple of years to get it together.
Yeah. The question is, do they really have a run game when they absolutely have to run? It's one thing to have a run game, when you're in a situation you could go either way. It's another thing when you absolutely have to. That's what we'll find out. But I think they'll be okay. I think that they've got some nice running backs. When Corey comes back, I will be interested to see how they use him. No doubt about it. I mean, because
don't be surprised if he's returning kicks.
He's done that. I've seen him back there returning kicks. And the only surprise to me in returning kicks was that one of the knocks on Corey as he entered the draft was his 40 time and whether he had breakaway speed or not. So when I saw them last season and putting them back and returning kicks, I'm like, well, he must be, enough of a threat, or at the very least, they know that he will secure the ball,
which is extremely important. In fact, if you think about it, I think the Eagles' outlook or how they approach returning kicks, especially punts, is kind of the same as the New England Patriots. If you take a look at some of the people that have been returning kicks for them over the years, okay, securing the ball is what's most important to Bill Belichick. And the Eagles kind of seem to be kind of going that way. They didn't used to. They used to put Deshaun back there, and go with the breakaway theory. But not turning the ball over seems to be a bit more important. And you can tell that by who teams put back there. Like I said, if they're going to use Pettis or a speedy guy like that, then they tend to think, when we're returning a punt, we're going to try to take this thing to the house. Other teams are thinking, secure the ball, get me some yardage, don't turn it over.
Can't argue with that. I mean,
not at all, especially if you got a good offense.
Yeah, absolutely. The Cincinnati Bengals played the Redskins. The Bengals won 23-13. The Bengals, Ben, your favorite whipping boy, is gone now.
He's gone. He's way long gone. I don't even remember his name. He was on TV a couple of times. He was dumb on there too.
3 passes scored for the well, wait a minute. Bengals pass, sample 5-yard pass from Finley. You had a pass from Haskins that scored 55 yards. Did you see that highlight?
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Nice throw.
Nice throw. And then Finley again, 3-yard pass to Tate and 57-yard field goal. Man. Then
so the starter, their starting quarterback didn't play then.
No. And you had a 75-yard punt return from A. Erickson for the Bengals.
He'll be on the practice squad in 2 weeks.
You're just so disrespectful. All right, the Jets and the Falcons. Jets came out 22-10 over the Falcons. People are really starting to rave about the Jets quarterback play here.
Well, let's remember, people are kind of, especially the guys in the media, are kind of really rooting for Darnold because they were the same people that were bashing the Giants for not selecting Darnold and for going with Saquon instead. So if Darnold does well, which he is doing, it makes them look like they were at least right that he would have been the right person to take if the Giants had gone quarterback first. He's proven that he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, no doubt about it. If the Jets have a resurgence, he's going to be right in the middle of that. But as far as that being a mistake for the Giants, I don't think so. I really don't. They did exactly what they needed to do.
In terms of scoring, I see a field goal, a 9-yard pass from Falk, L. Falk, and a 28-yard reception return. Huh?
Nobody knows who these guys are.
Nobody knows, but
that's all I'm checking on is how many starting quarterbacks did not play and how many have not played. It's getting to be a trend.
Let's see here. Moving on to the Buffalo Bills and the Carolina Panthers, 27-14 Buffalo. You've been liking Buffalo, but I know you don't put any much into the preseason.
Nah, I'm not going to put any credence into the preseason except to say that I still believe in Buffalo. It's not because of anything I'm seeing in the preseason games. I really believe that they're going to be a bit of a force in the AFC East.
LaShawn got a little run in, a little 1-yard touchdown. So he might have broke a half a sweat somewhere.
He needs to, man. He needs to.
You think so?
Running back, you gotta prove your worth, or he's on his way out.
Some gentleman by name of Jay Slide put up a 54-yard field goal for the Panthers. So 54 yards, man, that's going to get you some notice.
Okay.
Might make,
Okay. I don't know how many extra points he missed in practice, though.
Well, he didn't miss it in the game.
That 54-yarder might have been a do or die. They might be like, all right, we're going to give you one more chance. Go hit that joint. And he hit it. He hit it. So now he gets to hang around in camp for another week.
So disrespectful. The Miami Dolphins, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They won that one 16-14. Let me see here. I see field goal. Pass from Griffin. Dolphins pass from Rudock and a field goal. Ruddick. Didn't watch any of that, did you?
Miami Dolphins. Here's a question for you. They got Ryan Fitzpatrick, and they got, what's his name, Josh Rosen from the Cardinals?
Yes.
And from what I've heard, it was supposed to be promised to both of them that it would be an open competition for the starting job. And when I happened to turn that game on, it was deep into the third quarter, and Fitzpatrick was still in the game. So now I'm looking at this and I'm saying, why is Fitzpatrick still in the game in the third quarter of the second preseason game of the season with third stringers?
That's an interesting question. I mean, when I look at the stats, he only had one attempt for 2 yards. It looks like I'm not quite sure, what they were doing. Oh, wait a minute. That's wrong. That's a run. Passing. Fitzpatrick, 3 for 9, 20 yards.
The,
Uh,
the
no
question is, what you should have who your starting quarterback is going to be pretty much set by the third game of the preseason, which is coming up this weekend. You should know who that is, and you should have played him little to none in week 2. So,
well, Rosen was 10 for 18. So Rosen threw the ball twice as much, 102 yards, no touchdowns, had a 22-yarder. So Rosen got a lot more action than Fitzpatrick did in that game.
right, because he probably started the game with the number ones. So if they gave him a chance to start the game with the number ones and then put Fitzpatrick in before the half or after the half, and he played deep into the third quarter, almost the fourth quarter, then what does that tell him about the quarterback battle that he's supposed to be in? Tells me he's losing. So let's see who they start come game 3 this weekend.
Well, it looks as if, as I look at the depth chart or the lineup as it was set, Rosen was the quarterback that looks like he started that game. So you might have a point there. You might have a point. However, the interesting thing is what I had heard kind of was that Fitzpatrick, it looked like, the lean was going his way.
Exactly. I heard the same thing, that he was holding his own and was pretty much handling all the number one reps. So, although it's not written in stone, the unwritten rule is your starting quarterback, unless he's injured, will start the third preseason game. So let's see what happens.
Well, let's see what happens. Okay, so let's look at the Seattle Seahawks. They were visitors to the Minnesota Vikings. Seahawks came up short in that one, 19-25. Looks as if you had let's see, Seahawks field goal. D. Sheed had an 88-yard interception return. These are the scoring plays, I guess. Vikings 3-yard pass from S. Mannion. I thought he looked pretty decent, if I remember correctly. 52-yard field goal, 4-yard pass the Vikings had from a K. Slaughter, Sloter. Something about him, if I remember them saying. Jay Myers had a field goal. Vikings last game had a 1-yard run for a score, and Jay Myers 20-yard field goal. I don't think Wilson played at all in this game. He might have started the game, but I don't remember seeing much of him.
No, I think the Seahawks are probably going to go with the traditional keep him out of the second game or play him very sparingly, perhaps even just a series, and then start him in the third game with most of the number ones and keep them in there for at least a quarter. It'll be nice to see him play. I'll be looking for that game, or at least trying to catch a replay of it.
It looks like he started, though. He must have started. He's listening in the lineup at quarterbacks. Usually.
Okay, he has any pass attempts, no rushes, no pass attempts?
No, he probably turned around.
Probably played one series, handed the ball off 3 times.
Got him out of here.
Yeah, right. That's protocol for him too. Now this week, he could play till halftime. And that'll be fun to see, because that's when you'll get your first real look at how they may start the season. Even though they'll still kind of be keeping everything vanilla, it'll be all your starters, or as many healthy starters as possible out on the field.
Now,
the dress rehearsal for the season.
Do you use that level of preseason for your fantasy? Kind of seeing, start setting up your fantasy? Because, all of a sudden you've seen some of the starters and you're starting to get a feel for it. You'll have to wait till the season starts.
I mean, if you play fantasy on a regular basis, then you already know who most of the starters and most of the skill positions are going to be. That's just, teams don't have that great a turnover. What you're looking for is a rookie that maybe shines, um, a real position battle that could determine one guy being a starter and one guy not. Those are the kind of things you're looking for in the preseason. But, I mean, I've already drafted in some free leagues. I've got like 12 teams already. It's no big deal because you already know, you know? Like you don't even pick a quarterback until like round 7.
You know, that's one of the things that I've been hearing as the fantasy media is, you know, talking about the low rounds that they pick quarterbacks at, which is counterintuitive, you know, to me. When if you were building a team, that's the first position you pick if you can. Why is it so that, you know, it's not till later, so far down the ladder in terms of rounds?
Probably because fantasy is driven by statistics, okay? And when you look at all the quarterbacks in the NFL, there's 32 starting quarterbacks. At least 15 of them are going to get you about 300 yards a week. Some are going to blow up and get you 350, 400-yard games with 3 touchdowns, which is a tremendous fantasy weekend. And some are going to get you 2 touchdowns, 295. That's a mediocre day. But they're all going to be around the same. You can't count on you can only count on maybe 3 guys that will have better than average. And when I say average, I mean 300 yards and 1 touchdown, 2 touchdown passes. That's Rodgers, in my estimation. Rodgers, Breeze, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers doesn't even fit in there. They run the ball a lot. You know what I mean? So basically, the quarterback position is rendered not useless, but you could pick Mahomes and I could pick Matt Ryan and I could end up beating you.
Okay, so they're all kind of statistically around the same.
Right. There's more diversion in the running back.
Higher rounds in the first round. What position normally goes in the first round? Running back?
Running back.
Running back goes in the first round.
Running back. Because there's so few excellent ones. And running backs on teams that don't have committees or maybe only have 2. But if you're the bell cow, like if you're Zeke, you know, even Kamara gets some touches taken away from him. But if you're a guy like Zeke that you know is going to get the majority of the carries, your Melvin Gordons, your Todd Gurleys, those guys are like gold. Because you know they're going to get 20.
What's the next position?
To me, I would say wide receiver is next.
Wide receivers.
Right, and you want to go a few rounds getting the best guys you can, and then maybe you might want to think about a quarterback.
But they were talking like round 7 or something like that for quarterbacks. I'm like, how many, like, would you go back through the running backs and back through the wide receivers again in all those rounds until you exhaustion? It was like, okay, we got all of them guys. Now let's quarterbacks. That's how it works, eh?
That's exactly right. Because let's say there's 10 guys in the league. So you start the draft. So the first guy takes Zeke. The second guy takes Kamara. The third guy takes Gurley. The fourth guy takes who did I leave out?
From the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, McCaffrey.
Okay.
McCaffrey. The next guy takes.
Oh, so wait a minute.
Melvin Gordon. Now everybody's got one of them.
How many guys in your league?
10.
Oh, so with 32 teams, they get 3 rounds just in running back picks.
It's not like you're going to get Zeke and Kamara. It's not going to happen. If somehow you could finagle your way into that, the people were like crazy, and you got both of them on your team, you're guaranteed. You might as well not even play. You're guaranteed to win. But that won't happen because it's a regular draft, just like the NFL draft. So you have to build your team. You get 2 good running backs in the first 2 rounds. The third round, you go for the top wide receiver, and so on and so on.
Well, thank you for that little tutelage and fantasy drafting. I kind of understand a little bit more how that works, why the quarterback gets taken in such a it's in such low rounds. It's almost like when I listen to someone explain stocks versus bonds. I can understand stocks, they're kind of straightforward to me. Bonds are kind of counterintuitive, you know. Demand goes up, price goes up, yield goes down, you know. It's like, okay, you know.
Right.
All right, let's move on. Saints, Chargers. 1917, Saints took them. It looks like we had a field goal. Is that Cardale Jones throwing a 24?
Yes, that's your man.
Cardale
Cardale Jones. Dude, how many years has he been in the league? Like 4?
going on.
I remember when he was coming. Oh, I remember he was coming out of Ohio State. You were high on him. And I was like, the dude has size. He could have been like Cam. Not as good a runner, but he's a big guy.
He was not just running, but he was throwing bombs, hitting them in the hands.
I mean, he was not known as a runner. He passed his way.
No, he wasn't known as a runner, but when he ran well.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing, and I heard this discussed relative to one of the quarterbacks. I'm trying to remember which one. It's a rookie. Drew Lock, I think. They were talking about the way they ran the offense in college versus the pros. And college, number one, he was always in the shotgun.
Right.
All they had to do was look to the side. They see a picture of Mickey Mouse, a picture of Hansel and Gretel or something like that. They knew what the play was.
Right.
2 basic calls for his line.
Same thing for Kyler Murray. Same thing
for Kyler Murray. True, but I think that Kyler's on the field decision making because he was at Oklahoma at the time, so before the air raid. In any event, long story short, very simplistic setup in college versus what he now has to learn. And I think they even had a play call, like his college play call was like run to the left 3, something really simple, and like the NFL play call, sounds like something that Gruden was kicking out back in the Tampa Bay days, you know, split right 32, you know, Tallahassee left.
ZY banana,
yeah, you know, so that whole part. But he seems to be picking it up pretty well. And, you know, so.
I think the major difference is so many college programs now run systems that if they're not similar in any other way, they are similar in the fact that the quarterback is always in the shotgun. They never go up under center. Every play is designed from a shotgun snap. So running plays from under center sometimes, or maybe shifting to a pistol or whatever, that's something that they're not used to. To us, it looks simple enough. They go, just, you know, but it's a big difference, and it's something that they have to work on.
I think the reason that I mention it is because I wondered if that's what slowed Cardale down. You know, well, number one,
could be.
He's at the Chargers, so he's not going to displace Rivers. But, you know.
No, but guess what? He's in an ideal situation, actually. Is he the backup? Because I know he's been traded around a couple of times. He was with Buffalo at one time, and then he went somewhere else.
I think he might be battling for the backup. I don't know if
he's battling for the backup spot. Can you think of a better situation off the top of your head to be battling for the backup spot on a team like the San Diego Chargers?
No.
A guy like Rivers that you know he's only got a couple years left?
No, it's a beautiful thing.
Right.
Beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Also, you had your Saints here.
I love the Saints. Don't get me started.
Well, wait. I was looking at some of the stats, right? And where's our boy at? Okay, well, first of all, to have Bridgewater sitting back there is a nice piece of security. But
Taysom Hill is the story.
Taysom Hill, 5 This is rushing. 5 attempts for 53 yards, 10.6 average. He put a 23-yarder on.
10 yards an attempt.
But then he went 11 for 15 passing for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns with a 27-yard long.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
He is the proverbial Swiss Army knife.
Oh, man.
That's like, wow. I don't even know what to say about him. I really do like the Saints. I'm looking for the Saints to be a lot better on defense than they've been known to be this year. They're going to be extremely dangerous, man.
So you were saying about Teddy?
Teddy Bridgewater, my man. Yeah, I'm hoping that he's found a home. Number one, the Saints are a good team and probably will be a good team for several years to come, although Drew Brees isn't showing much incentive to want to get out there. I think he's trying to keep up with Brady. So, but Bridgewater looks healthy. He's moving well. His arm is lively, and I like that. That's a good thing.
Now, that means the Saints have 2 viable backups. If you assume Taysom Hill is a viable backup, potential starter. Now, Teddy Bridgewater was a starter. Taysom has not started in the NFL, as far as I know.
Right.
I keep thinking, man, there might be a team out there somewhere that would offer up something really sweet to the Saints for a Taysom Hill. I even thought about the Eagles instead of going out and bringing somebody out of retirement to back up Wentz. A Taysom Hill would be like, for the Eagles, man, that'd be a crazy, scary situation. You bring a Taysom Hill to back up Wentz.
Man, I don't know. That goes against your theory of getting backups that are similar to the starter.
Goes against my theory? You don't think that they're similar?
No, not at all.
I think they're similar in terms of their athleticism and the ability to run and throw the ball in terms of the skill capabilities. Well, why do you think they're not similar?
Because Wentz is a different guy now.
In terms of?
You're not going to see all that running and scrambling around from Wentz anymore. They're tailoring that offense for him to sit back there and pick teams apart. That's not on the agenda. And to make sure he's not going to play not one single second in the preseason. He hasn't yet, and he will not.
All right.
Protecting him against himself. Chip would have loved to have him.
Huh?
I said Chip would have loved to have him.
Oh, that would have worked out wonderful for Chip, no doubt about it. All right. Let's move on to the Detroit Lions and the Houston Texans. Texans put up 30 on the Lions. Sean did get a chance to play. He had scoring plays. He had a 4-yard pass to Hopkins. I think the catch on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of difficulty, it looked like about an 8.5 to a 9. It was a weird looking catch, even though it was a short pass.
Best hands in the business right now.
You see the commercial where he's hanging upside down catching the ball?
Yep. That's real. That's real.
We have that commercial up on Ben and Barry on football on Facebook. It's the Are You Ready?
Right.
And what I just thought it was great to share because they did actually have the coach, the high school coach that doesn't have any arms, any legs, quadruple,
right.
And he's in there, can't hold the tune now, I had to admit. I was like,
come on, give him a break.
But he's an amazing guy, absolutely amazing. Bridgewater, they had something there. I see Jay Webb for the Texans. Yeah, Webb for the Texans. Quarterback.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's his first name?
Where'd he come from?
I forget, but he's a
Giants probably. Davis Webb.
no. It says J Webb.
Oh, Jay Webb,
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
Davis Webb.
No, no, no.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm
He,
mistaken.
I'm gonna have get his name in a second.
Okay.
But he looked like a pretty good Deshaun substitute. Um, I was a bit impressed with him. That's another team that if Deshaun goes down, they have someone who might be able to step in for them. Let me see if I can get that straight. Did you happen to get a chance to see any of that?
I think I saw the catch on the replay. I believe they only, Deshaun and Hopkins only played that one series. I'm going to assume that they had all the number ones out there for that one series, and they did what they had to do and got it done and got off the field. So that's pretty promising for the Texans. Their defense is supposed to be pretty good this year. I don't know. We'll have to see. JJ can stay healthy.
Joseph Webb.
Joseph
Joe Webb. Joe Webb.
Do I know his name from somewhere? Enlighten me.
Says he played college at UAB.
Okay.
Drafted by the Vikings in the 6th round in 2010.
Webb. Right. He's been on the Vikings.
Right.
Been a backup on the Vikings for a couple of years.
Well, he looked pretty good, actually. He looked pretty good. He still had the ability to move. He could run a little bit.
Well, that's what those guys do, man. They make a career of that, but they have to always be ready because if something goes wrong or the starter just starts to like stink it up a little bit, the fans start chanting his name, and all they have to go on is that couple of series in that second or third preseason game that he looked spectacular, and they'll be chanting his name and wanting him in there. So, that's the life of the backup, but you want to be that guy. Everybody wants to be that guy.
We talked last week, and I was saying that, it's not, not a bad job if you can get it. It's a beautiful thing if you can be the starter, but some of these guys have nice, long careers, man.
Yes, they do.
They're going to get all the benefit, but they'll get the pensions and everything.
and if by chance, somewhere along the line, due to injury, trade, retirement, whatever, you find yourself in a position to be a starter, that might be that big kick to that salary you've been carrying for all those years. You know what I mean? Late in your career, that's the sweet spot. But it means that every year you got to compete with some young dude to hold on to that number 2 spot. That's almost as hard as holding on to being the starter. You get challenged every year, right? The starter don't always get challenged every year. But the backup, he gets challenged every year.
Well, even with my Niners, C.J. Beathard versus
look at that,
Nick.
When Nick came in and was like, "Oh yeah, give me a shot at this."
Him in the past preseason game, Nick looked better than Garoppolo too, but he looked better than C.J. C.J. looked like he was just as affected by the rush as Garoppolo was.
He proved himself last year when C.J. went down, and he's proven that we weren't crazy, and what we saw was real, that he wants that shot. He wants that job.
Let's talk about the Chiefs and the Steelers. Steelers won that 17-7. Let's see what we have here. We have Steelers with a 14-yard run from Jay Samuels. Chiefs with a 17-yard pass from Chad Henne.
Excuse me, you said Jalen Samuels scored a touchdown?
Yeah.
That's good. That's big. That's big for Pittsburgh. He'll be backing up James Conner. They don't want to run Conner into the ground. So Samuels, if he's a viable backup, then that's going to be a nice little committee, the two of them. That keeps that running game going.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see some Big Ben coming up in the week coming. How about the Patriots and the Titans? 22-17 Patriots on that one. What do we have here? Mariota threw an 11-yard touchdown. McNichols, 15-yard pass from Ryan Tannehill for the Titans. And we had a 1-yard run from Rosette and a 23-yard pass from Jay Stidham for the Patriots. So the Patriots are fundamental. You know, I think good fundamental teams, they play pretty well because they're very well organized and you know, even their backups play decent.
There's a guy to look out for on Kansas City. His name is Mecole Hardman. He's a wide receiver. I think the Chiefs had in mind a guy that could possibly sit in for Tyreek Hill if by chance his little court stuff didn't go away. Fortunately for them, he was excused from that, so he's able to come back and play. But now they got this other kid, and he's off to a really hot start. I don't know what he did in that game too, but I'm going to be looking to see how much time he gets in this next game for the Chiefs.
There's something put out on the Chiefs where they were talking about the 40 times of their receivers, and they were all like 4.2, 4.3. They got like 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah,
in the the low 4 seconds at 4.2.
This is the funny thing. In my mind, and I said it for years and years, the one thing that plagued the Eagles when Andy Reid was the coach was that he never went after a bombastic wide receiver, not a speed guy. I mean, he finally did when he got to Sean, and then, you know, he had T.O. But for years, they went with what I consider mediocre receivers. I'm sure if you were an Eagles fan, you liked Reggie Brown, you know, Jason Avant. I don't know. You must have liked them. But let's face it, they were not of the caliber of the type of wide receivers that he's going after now. He has really decided that this is what his offense needs. And, man.
Well, he's loading it up, no doubt about it. He's loading it up. And now that he has Hill's back, right?
Yes.
So, you know,
Hill's back. Yes.
You know, his thing in court got dropped, so he's back. You know, we shall see, but they look to be an interestingly dangerous team. Cleveland Browns and the Indianapolis Colts. Browns won 21-18. There's something going on with Luck again. Now it's his leg or whatever.
Dude.
You know, I'm wondering, man, how many of these injuries are just excuses to make so that instead of saying he's not going to play this preseason, it's like, oh, he can't play. Boo-boo.
I don't know. I kind of lean toward there's really something going on because I don't see any drawback to just saying we're not going to play him. I mean, the Eagles aren't going to play Wentz. They've made it clear. They haven't said it verbally, but they've made it clear through their actions. If he doesn't start this weekend, you're not going to see him till game 1.
You're not going to see him till game 1 anyway.
and that's what it's trending toward. But Luck, the last I heard, they were saying maybe possibly a high ankle sprain. I don't ever remember them reporting that he even had an ankle injury. It's just morphed from a sore calf to it could be Kevin Durant to it's some kind of something in his ankle, possibly to do with a bone, to now a high ankle sprain. So I couldn't tell you.
Well, I'm not sure what's going on with him either. However, it's giving Jacoby Brissett plenty of work in the preseason. And he looks to be another backup who would be, you know, good for maybe a couple W's if Luck goes down.
In my estimation, he is worthy. He is worthy. He's had to do it before, and he's there to do it again. And he backed up Brady too. So Belichick believed in him, and the Colts believe in him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I'm saving your team for last year. We have the Cowboys and the Rams. Cowboys 14, to 10, and all I can say is Zeke who?
Okay, Jerry. Uh, that joke was in very poor taste. Nah, it would have been funny, but he didn't really pull it off right. Like, the guy was asking him about the kid Poland, who was the running back that's been looking there pretty good there.
Is
But
it
Jerry
Poland or
already had in his
Pollard?
mind.
Is it Poland
I'm
or
sorry, Pollard. I'm not sure.
Okay, but I know what you're saying.
But you know who I'm talking about. But I think Jerry already had it in his mind that if he said something about the running game, the guy would come back and say, do you miss Zeke? Have you talked to Zeke? Is anything going on with Zeke? So he already had his answer, Zeke who, prepared. But the question the guy asked him was about Pollard. And then he went, who? First he said who, then the guy said Pollard, and then he said Zeke who? So he actually didn't pull the joke off. So I can't give him credit for that.
So you think it was a setup? I thought it was impromptu.
No. That was, oh, come on, really? Look at it again, man. You can't tell me he didn't set that up.
Okay.
Nah, you can't tell me he didn't set that. Zeke who?
Well, what did you think about? It went back and forth. First he said Zeke who, and then it was supposedly a joke, and then Zeke came back, came back through his attorney saying, I didn't see, I thought it was disrespectful. I didn't see the humor in it.
Right.
And now Jerry Jones is coming back to him and saying, I've earned the right to kid with Zeke. And I don't know if you heard that part. And some of the commentators made a few good points. And they were like, Jerry Jones has backed Zeke probably more than the public even knows.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, much less, Zeke has still got what? Almost 3 years of a contract still left.
Is it that much? No, it's not that much.
Yeah, well, let me see. When you sign your rookie contract, you can sign for up to what? 3 to 5, is it?
I think it's three or 4 years.
Okay. So he still has at least two.
He's got at least 2 years left.
Yeah. And then they just signed the linebacker to a nice, big, fat contract.
Right, which tells me, you know what that tells me? That tells me that it won't be long he'll be signing Zeke. He's got this all worked out. But
You
Jerry
think he's
likes
going
to
to sign
lie.
Zeke before he signs Dak?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Unless he really wants to push the drama. I mean, he might want to push the drama. If he wants to push the drama, he'll pay Dak first, and then he'll pay Zeke like the week before the season starts or something. Because believe me, he's monitoring him. He has people in Cabo watching him, and the word's coming back that the man is really working hard and really staying in good shape as he can without being around the team. So I have no doubt about that. But the fact that he went so far as to sign the linebacker first just to me means that he's just feeding a little extra fuel to the media fire and keeping things focused on himself and his team, America's team, and all that stuff. He's just playing his role, man. He got money for all of them. Dak might not get what he wants, though.
That is a question, and if you're using Wentz as the benchmark, then he's going to get close to what he wants.
I think he wants more than Wentz. I think that's the problem. If he wanted Wentz money, it might not be such a tough negotiation, but he considers himself better than Wentz. He stayed healthy, so he tops him in every stat that means anything as far as a quarterback is concerned.
All right, that's going to come up. All right, let's move to the last game that we're going to take a look back at before we take a look forward, and that would be the Chicago Bears against the New York Football Giants, as you would say, who took that game 32-13. Man, they put 32 up on – I'm looking here. I see, let's see. Eli had a scoring pass, a couple field goals. I see a safety. Yeah, Daniels. He is human, right?
Ooh, Daniel Jones.
C. Daniel. Oh no, I'm thinking about somebody else. I got the Daniels mixed up there. D. Jones. Pass from D. Jones to T. Jones. The Jones boys is getting it in. I see a field goal. I see a run. I see a 10-yard run on for the Giants for Hillman. And I see a 10-yard pass from Lauletta late in the game for the Giants to G. Dickerson. You got family?
Ha 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 ha. No, they got a tight end named Dickerson.
So we know Saquon the Gift Barkley is not going to see anything until the actual season starts. Um, and Jones is still he looked human this time, but he still looks really good. Do you think there's anything going on there? I know you said there's always going to be that quarterback thing going on, but and you have any doubt that opening day it won't be Eli starting?
Oh no, I have no doubt that Eli will be starting.
Okay.
I'm certain of that.
Eli looked pretty decent too. I'm not.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna look bad in a preseason game where he only plays a series or two. They're going to keep it safe. He should play a little bit more in this game coming up. I don't know if he'll play a whole half because I think they're going to want to give Daniel Jones a lot of time and maybe save half of the fourth quarter for Lauletta. But I think Eli may play into the second quarter. They're committed to starting the season with Eli and let the chips fall where they may. And they're hoping that they can coach and scheme and wiggle and do whatever else they got to do to squeeze out some wins and get this team back into the win column without playing Daniel Jones.
I thought about the Giants and Daniel Jones as I watched Garoppolo, and I'm thinking to myself, Daniel Jones looks way better than Garoppolo at this point in the season.
I'll say this. Garoppolo did not look comfortable to me.
Oh, no, not at all.
He looked kind of funny on his dropbacks.
Number one, there was no step up.
Maybe, yeah, he didn't look comfortable in the pocket at all. And I don't know. I can't really explain it. If we had the coach's tape, I could probably point out what I mean. He looked a little stiff, and he looked a little leery behind the offensive line. And I know you spoke about the offensive line not being that good. Don't they have a couple starters that aren't playing on the offensive line right now?
Yeah, and I don't think that they didn't have the starting line,
Right. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, he could come out and look great game one.
Questionable, choice. If you're going to put that guy out there, I would have had my starting line.
See, that's the thing. He's been healthy for a little while. He started the OTAs. He was at camp right away with everybody else. So he's probably itching to get back on the field. And he's itching like, I got to get back on the field before that first game. I want to get out here. I would have saved him until this game coming up and tried my best to have all the number one linemen. But for whatever reason, they put him out there and didn't look good.
Yeah, and as I said, CJ Beathard didn't look good, and I think the pressure affected both of them. All right. All right, so week 3, you said to me over and over and over and over in preseason that it won't be till week 3 that we get to see any of the starters of consequence. We won't see some starters of consequence even in week 3, like Saquon the Gift Barkley. Julio Jones said he wasn't playing at all in the preseason, but we should see a lot more starters than what we have. We have a slate of games on Thursday, a slate of games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So very quickly, Thursday games is going to start out with the Giants and the Bengals. We got Washington and the Falcons. We have the Panthers and the Patriots. They're all 7 o'clock games. 8 o'clock, we have the Packers going into Oakland and visiting the Raiders. And also we have the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins on Thursday. So that's our Thursday slate of games.
Be interesting to see how much time Nick Foles gets down in Jacksonville. I'm interested in that. I want to see how he looks with his new team, his new offense. Actually, that offense is similar to the Eagles' offense, isn't it? I believe he's got a coordinator that came up in that same system. His name escapes me right now.
We'll check that out on our.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure. So I'd like to get a look at them. And what I was talking about previously in reference to the quarterback situation with the Giants. Cincinnati is not the greatest defense in the world, so I expect to see the normal things going on. That is, Eli starts the game, plays into the second quarter, Daniel takes over, plays into the third quarter, and then all the starters are out and we're all happy.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, we have a new system being installed in Green Bay. They're going to Oakland. I don't know how much Rodgers is going to play. Last week, I think he said he felt a little twinge in his back or something. Maybe itching. I think his back was itching. That's what it was. And
itching, but he said twitching. He really said itching, but they thought he said twitching. And when they told him he didn't have to play, he was like, oh, "Okay, that's cool." Okay. Yeah. I don't know about this new system, man. I'm gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to wait till the real games start before we can really assess this new Green Bay system. But I'm very interested.
Baltimore is coming into Philadelphia, so we'll get a chance. Maybe that's what was happening.
Yeah, they're practicing together.
That's
right. That's the new trend. We should have spoken this sooner. That's the new trend now. Instead of just playing against your own defense and offense through training camp, it's almost like they're scrimmages. Okay, and you actually scrimmage another team. I'm assuming that it's a team that's, there's cities that are near each other and not necessarily rivals and coaches that get along.
Okay.
Okay. So the NFL doesn't schedule these; the coaches schedule.
Oh, right. Okay.
What I understand. So that's the situations you're going to get.
Okay. So that's why McSorley was there. Carolina, the Panthers are going up to New England. Think we're going to see any Cam?
I hope so. I really want to see Cam, and I want to see him play for a while. I want to see a couple series.
Be nice. Washington and Atlanta. Who's going to be the quarterback?
Okay, this Washington thing, this is kind of crazy. Like, they're trying really, really hard to keep the rookie pumped up, but Colt McCoy is like sitting in the cut, like, dude, every time you make a rookie mistake, I move a little bit closer. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He hasn't looked outstanding. He hasn't looked special to me in any way, but that's just me. It's going to be a tough one. And Case Keenum, that's what Case Keenum does for a living. They take over teams and hang around until he can get a check somewhere else. So Haskins is going to have to play extremely well before they start him.
All right, we'll see what he does. This game 3 might make that whole difference here. All right, let's move on to Friday. Cleveland at Tampa Bay and Buffalo at Detroit.
Buffalo at Detroit. It might be a good game for the Buffalo defense to show off a little bit. I'm going to be interested in that game because that's something I kind of predicted, that their defense would be better. So I want to get a look at that starting D together.
Okay. All right. Detroit, I don't know if anyone is accusing them of being a Super Bowl contender at this point. I don't know what their odds are. But I'm wondering if they might be a little better than what we thought they might be.
Well, you can't sleep on Mr. Stafford. You can never sleep on Stafford. The receiving core is fast. Marvin Jones, Galladay. For fantasy purposes, Kerryon Johnson, who this is his second year, is being touted as a fairly high draftable fantasy running back. So
Okay.
I haven't gotten a chance to take a look at him yet, but supposedly he's really improved from last year.
Did you see, talking about Cleveland and Tampa Bay, did you see OBJ's catch under his leg?
Yes, yes. And let me tell you this. And I'm not even gonna prefix this. I was listening to Shannon Sharp. The guy asked Shannon Sharp. He said, "You guys didn't fool around and practice and do those things, did you?" And he said, "Yeah, sure we did, but we were just entertaining each other."
Right.
Now with social media and camera phones all over the place, these guys are making like half of a practice out of it. Like they're going all out to show this stuff and then put it out there. All we did was wow each other in practice and went on about our business.
Did you hear what he said, that the only receiver that the receiver that he knows that would have done that in the game would have been Chris Carter?
I concur.
You concur. So did Chris Carter.
Look, hey, if you know anything about Chris Carter, he ain't shy.
Chris Carter ain't shy, but he will catch that ball. He would catch that ball. And you know, they said something that was funny because they were saying when they asked Buddy, when Buddy let him go, and they asked Buddy about it. And if you were to hear this quote out of context, it means something completely different. But what they said when they asked him, about letting him go, and Buddy said, well, all he does is catch touchdowns.
Yeah. Buddy was sorry to let him go, but Chris Carter to this day will tell you Buddy did him a gigantic favor. Because after Buddy did that, he got himself together.
Yeah.
He got himself together. So he was having a lot of problems, and he was able to have a Hall of Fame career thanks to Buddy and tough love.
Tough love. Saturday, August 24th, we've got a nice slate of games from 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8, 9, and 10 o'clock. Kicking off with Arizona at Minnesota, Houston at Dallas, Chicago at Indianapolis, New Orleans at New York. That's a 7:30. That's a Jet game. The Niners at Kansas City at 8 o'clock. That'll be interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starters.
Jimmy G better get it together, man.
G got to get it together. Denver at the Rams at 9, and finishing out Seattle at Los Angeles Chargers. Seattle at the Chargers at 10.
That should be a good game.
Yeah, that's a nice slate of games, man.
Yeah.
A couple extra games.
They may be even more competitive simply because most of the starters will be staying in the game longer. So it'll almost be like, if we built this lead and we come out, you guys got to finish this game. That's the kind of pressure goes on. Like
lead over to the third and fourth stringers and put the pressure on them, man.
Right. Or these guys jumped out on us and we came back on them. Now we're coming out. You got to finish it.
What you gonna do?
Right. So these should be competitive down to the wire.
Let's go to the last game, unless you have something else on the other games real quick. Let me say Arizona at Minnesota. Okay, so the air raid, they haven't really ran the air raid yet in Cardinal land. Kyler Murray did not look good in his last outing, but again, they're really not running what they're going to run. So it'd be interesting to see at some point before the season starts, if you're going to run the air raid, especially with the amount of adjustments that are made, like pre-snap and things of that nature, I don't see why you'd be worried about showing it because every play is different. Even though you can call one or two plays, but every play is going to be different anyway. And you better give that young man a chance against some real competition to practice this thing and see, what's going to work. I keep thinking about Lombardi, when he used to say, I don't care if they know what we're going to run. We're going to execute it anyway. We're going to run that sweep. You might know what's coming, but can you stop it? That's the question. And so I'm wondering if it's to his detriment that they not practice the air raid, in this.
Well, they practice it.
They
practice it, but they haven't done it against live competition.
Right. If they don't run it in the games, I should be saying.
Right. Well, if they were going to run it in the game, this would be the game to do it. Because I think after this, he's not going to play anymore. He's not going to play in that last game.
Yeah, probably not.
So if you're going to do it and test it against a bona fide defense, this is the time to do it. So we may get a good glimpse of it this weekend. It'll be interesting to watch.
It'll be interesting to watch. We'll see a little bit of Drew Brees this weekend. Maybe not so much Taysom Hill this time, except in that fourth quarter when Brees hands him that lead.
Yeah, right.
You better hold on to it. They're going to close the weekend out on Sunday at 8 with the Steelers at the Titans. So we actually might see a little bit of Roethlisberger and the Steeler offense, the wideouts. Who's going to be number 2 is the big question for the Steelers. Who's really going to step up, become that number 2? That might be a fantasy question.
Really?
Well, that if you
is Roethlisberger brittle?
No, I'm talking about wide receivers.
Oh, yeah, the wide receivers. Yes. You're absolutely correct. Juju obviously will be a highly drafted wide receiver. I think he would be considered coming in that second tier right behind Hopkins, Julio, Beckham, Michael Thomas, those guys. He's right under there. But the number 2 guy right now looks like it's James Washington's job to lose. Connor's job is pretty secure, and Jalen Samuels is going to take a few carries from him. I'm not too worried about the Pittsburgh offense, to tell you the truth. I'm really not. People were panicking when Le'Veon didn't show up, and everything worked out just fine. And they were one game away, one pass away, I think, from getting to the AFC Championship game. So, yeah, they'll be fine.
Okay, that's going to be an interesting game. All right, so that wraps up the slate of the upcoming games. Looking forward to it. We got football from Thursday to Sunday. Let's move on. At this point, we normally have some level of our social media. Yeah, let's get set up and begin to take a look at our social media. All right, here we go. Fantastic. I want to go here and then go here and then go here. Yes. Bam. So, Ben and Barry on football at BNBOF on Facebook. Wanted to kind of just bring up a couple things that we shared during the season. Here's some highlights and things of that nature. But before that, we had the ultimatum for AB, and it looks as if that ultimatum actually maybe moved AB along a little bit. I understand practicing, even though he's still pursuing the helmet issue. But you know something, he actually got a little bit of love from a few different people who played in the NFL who was talking about, having to give up the helmet and get something different and that adjustment. The one guy, I'm trying to remember who it was, he said he had a helmet tailor-made for him. He said, and when he played in it, the first time he played or practiced or whatever, it slipped down. It didn't fit him as snugly and kind of messed his nose up. I don't know if it broke his nose or gashed his nose or something like that. So, this helmet thing is very important. It's, I haven't had to wear a helmet in so long, and, you kind of forget how close a man in his helmet can be.
Right.
Did he bring it from Pittsburgh with him?
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, another color. I remember when we used to have paint days when we were coaching Little League, and have everybody bring in their white helmet, and we put the blue on it. This is a guy who crossed over from rugby. He had a catch and a run here. Let's see if we can show it. There it is. And I'm going to try to make it.
Stadium. Fans will come in there to see all the way through the depth chart. Pearson Wade.
Yeah.
To the 2-yard line.
Nice.
Nice.
A run of 47 yards.
You're going to see the right defense in. Almost get the quarterback. This game is about inches.
Whoa, you ought to get out of that one.
Gotta be able to tackle.
Rumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
Otherwise, plays like this.
That's nice. That play right there could earn him a job.
Hey,
that play right there could have earned him a job right there.
That's what you call a transferable skill.
Right. Right. Absolutely right.
That's what you call a transferable skill. His ability to come over here and, use those rugby moves to move himself forward and potentially get a job. Again, we had some bad news. Cedric Benson. We lost Cedric Benson. Motorcycles.
Yeah. I like Cedric Benson. Had him on some fantasy teams at one time.
Yeah?
Yeah, when he was with the Bears, not with the Bengals. But he was a really, really good college player. Sometimes guys are better college players than they turn out to be pros. They're kind of okay in the pros, but they were great college players. Yeah, that was Cedric Benson.
Okay. Well, rest in peace. Coach Tone made it on TV.
Yeah, I think I saw this.
Yeah, Coach Tone is a speed coach here in Philadelphia. He coached my son Christopher, and he's got a few Eagles under his belt now. And he actually, I don't know if you ever saw him, he ran in the Penn relays with the seniors.
Yeah.
With the older guys, and he's
been around, man. He's been around. He's bona fide.
He's bona fide. Yeah, he's got it in here. And wasn't the D-back for the Eagles? Is it Jalen Smith? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Out there training with Coach Tone.
Jalen Mills. I just speed intensified. I wanted to give him a chance to get a chance for people to see him, and great guy, out there with, and he doesn't just do football. He does basketball players, anything. I think his motto is speed kills, strength annihilates, or something like that. Something like that. Orlando Flag Football World Championships, $30,000 on tap there in total prize money. Anything about that? Are you familiar with that? Well, if you remember when we talked about these flag football tournaments and the different organizations that run them, the invitationals during the year. Usually January, Martin Luther King weekend, is time for nationals. And these different sanctioning bodies tend to try to give tournaments throughout the year and in different areas of the country where they know flag football is played a lot, and try to draw the teams in, build a following so that they can have the best nationals that they can have as far as the type of teams that they attract, the type of teams in every phase of flag football, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, 7-on-7, contact, non-contact, women, co-ed, the whole 9 yards. Each of these organizations is constantly trying to attract the best teams and the best competition so that they can declare their nationals the nationals. And this was FFWCT. The other organization is the UFFL. And the UFFL is having their nationals in Daytona Beach. So I'll have to give you an update maybe next week or in the weeks to come as to where the Philadelphia flag teams will be going, and maybe where the teams from the Maryland, D.C. area are going, because that's a hotbed for flag football. And maybe we can determine which nationals is going to be the best.
Okay. All right. Keep us filled in here at Ben and Barry on football. We cover flag. Did I tell you about simulation football?
Yes, you did.
You probably didn't get a chance to find it, or?
No, I have no clue how to get that channel on my television.
It's really weird because I only see it every once in a while, but it's literally, animated or game, like a video game type football. But I don't think that anybody's it's not like I'm, controlling the quarterback or whatever. I think they literally program it and just play it. Like, let's let the computer run both games. But whoever represents the team, whoever team that is, puts in a game plan.
Okay.
So somehow they install a game plan, and then they let the computers execute. And the announcers are announcing it like it's a real game. It really is actually kind of interesting to see.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like you have you ever seen those competitions where people build the robots and the robots fight each other?
Right.
That's what it sounds like.
You got people on the remotes with that situation. I don't think anybody.
Yeah, but I'm saying basically they're presenting their robot, and you present your robot, and they're like, between the way we've built our robot and our maneuvering skills, we believe we can beat you. And in this simulated football, it's like, I have players that have certain skills, you have players that have certain skills, but my game plan, I believe, will beat yours. I can plan for this team to beat that team.
I think that's kind of basically what they're doing. Your analogy. Okay, I can see what you're talking about. But yeah, it's an interesting scenario here with that. I'm going to see. I have to find out more information, and we'll actually put that out here. Let's take a quick look now. I had to share this, Ben. Let's see here if I can get this on a large screen so everybody can see. What's going on here is Kittle is coming off the line. Look, he fakes a fall.
I've seen that.
Have you seen that?
I've seen that. I saw a flag team do that.
Really?
They took the slot receiver and brought him in like he was going to crack block on the guy that's rushing from the end. And he pretends that he misses him and falls down. And then he gets up and runs a route. Yes, I've seen that. In fact, I need to put that in practice tomorrow night. Thank you for that.
No, you're quite welcome. I'm like, that's hilarious. Kittle
Yes.
should get some level of a acting award for that because he really fell nice. He looked like he was like, just sprawled out there for a second. Everybody ran away from him. Like, okay, we don't care about him.
But usually when you hit the ground, you're out of play. I don't need to block you. I don't need to cover you. You're down. I'm moving on. And he got up quick and got right into a route.
How many times did we run the drill where the kid hits the ground and gets right back up? You can't assume just because he's down. That's not.
I tell you what.
Assumption.
Speaking of that, remember in football practice when they made you do the bear crawls on all fours, your hands and feet?
Right.
Okay. In our flag league, a guy got hit. The guy was attempting to take his flag. He got hit and kind of spun, okay, and went down almost to the point where he was on his knees and put down one hand, and with that one hand and his 2 feet, did at least 3 of those before he was able to get back up and keep running.
The guy with the flag, they were trying to.
The guy with the ball, yeah.
The ball, wow. And
as long as the ball doesn't touch the ground.
Time, nobody could get that flag from him while he was going through that.
No, he's like a really small guy. Shout out to T-Bird from the Falcons. He's a really small guy already. And the guy came up fast, boom, hit him. I wish I had it on video where I could show you, but I don't have it. But, when you're thinking about drills and things that you ran in practice for years and years in high school and little league and all that, and you're like, I'll never do this in a game. Guess what? It comes up.
Well, okay. Let's see. What I wanted to do, and I think I just sort of interrupted you a little bit while I tried to share this. But let's see. I do believe this is it here. All right. So we talked a little bit about Lamar Jackson. And I was saying on that play how sensational he was. Can you see that?
Now, I see this play. Now, let me just pick out all the receivers. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so the receivers are off the line. You see the Packers already.
I see exactly what's going on. Go ahead, run it a little bit.
All right, come on and play. All right, let's go back to here. For some reason, oh, there you go.
All right, now when it stops, go back to the beginning again for me.
And I think they'll rerun it. They'll rerun it.
Okay.
See the 2 guys underneath?
Yes. He never looked at him.
He never looked that way.
Never looked at him at all. But I tell you what he saw, and if I could see it again, yeah, I'll tell you what he saw. He saw the linebacker and the safety run with them. They weren't near enough to stop the pass. He could have thrown the pass, but they ran with them. And he took right where they left, except for that one guy. Everybody else is gone. The linebacker tried to come back. He got blocked. So he knew exactly what he was doing. Some guys, you show them some clear grass, they're going to take it. They're just going to take it. I'm sure when they got in the room during practice, they're like, dude, come on. Look, this play is designed to do this. It almost worked to perfection. These 2 guys underneath, you had easy tosses to, and you probably could have hit the guy going toward the corner. But instead, you take off running like you're not going to be able to keep doing that. And what do you think he's thinking?
I
knew I could make it.
Yeah.
I knew I could make it.
Well,
I'm just
those instincts against whoever was in that game worked really well. When all the starters are in, it only takes one good hit, and it'll be RG3 time or Trace McSorley time.
Yeah, we keep saying that, but
that's right.
I'm telling you, this dude is special.
One or two mentioned the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. Quick share here is an article that I found. You know, we talked a lot about the AAF, the Alliance of American Football. And I found this article when I looked up the information. 73 players went to the NFL from that league. And I thought that was just great news. I thought that, you know, that was life. Now, how many of those guys are going to be there? You know, beyond that.
Hopefully they'll let us know.
Huh?
Hopefully they'll let us know.
They might.
When it's if they're telling us that 73 guys got to look, they got to tell us how many stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so other than that, again, you can get directly to our YouTube channel at www.benandbarryonfootball, and also don't forget to follow us on Instagram, as well as hitting the notification bell and clicking the little dingy there to make sure that you get that you subscribe. The subscribe button, that's what it's called for that. So before we wrap up, we normally have a rant or so. Mr. Benjamin, how about you?
I'm so tired of Odell Beckham, and people probably are tired of hearing about Odell Beckham. We did get a small break from it because they decided to talk about this interview that Baker Mayfield did, and he said what sounded like some kind of foul stuff about Daniel Jones and the Giants. And of course, you know, supposedly he apologized and said that what he said was taken out of context. And that may be, okay? My thing is, just stay off the Giants, man. Let us do our thing. We're going to win, we're going to win. We're going to lose, we're going to lose. We took some chances in the last couple of drafts. We're hoping that they pay off, just like Browns fans are hoping that you guys pay off. Let it be. Just let it be. Why we got to keep talking about this? If Beckham hadn't done some of the things that he did with no provocation from anybody that has anything to do with the New York Giants organization, he'd probably still be there. They didn't give him that money for nothing. So to let him go and still have to give him, like, I don't know how much they had to give him left off of that contract, that wasn't fun for them. You know, he's like, well, they sent me all the way out to Cleveland to die. First of all, that's you saying that you thought Cleveland was a place to go to die. Okay? Now all of a sudden you're so happy there. Oh, I'm so happy. I love my quarterback, this, that, and the other. First of all, you haven't won nothing yet. Let's win something. How about let's get in the playoffs? Is that too tall of an order? Well, just win something. Because you're the almighty. And just let the Giants be. Just you do you. Leave my team alone. And yes, I'm upset about it because I loved you when you were a Giant. I backed you up. I made excuses for you. And this is how you repay me.
All right. You know, Ben, if you're going to have that rant, you got to have the Beatles playing in the background. Come on now. Let it be. I mean, it was like, I can't wait. I was going to pull it up on YouTube. Just start playing it in the background.
Just let it be.
Or just start singing it myself. But, you know.
Just let it be.
Swoon, so I won't start singing. All right. On my side, I can probably use the same words, let it be. I do not understand why Mr. Colin Kaepernick has to get into a tiff with Jay-Z and them.
What?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear about this. Enlighten me.
You know, their attitude has been so negative. It's like they're trying to say he's in it for the money and, you know.
Whoa. Whose attitude? Who?
Colin Kaepernick.
Is into what for the money?
Huh?
Is into what for the money?
Jay-Z is into his connection with the NFL for the money.
Oh, that's what that's what Kaepernick is saying.
That's one of the things that's come out, and he got this thing where he's talking about all the people who didn't turn their back on him again and everything. And the amazing thing is he put the video out showing them playing, or working out, and you kind of, denigrated that a little bit, like guys work out all the time. That don't mean you're ready to go play any football. And I've said all along, to be quite honest with you, I don't think he really wants to play football, which is why it just seemed that much more unnecessary to be negative. To me, had he been positive and said, something, we really have to work together. Our synergy could maybe create something even bigger and better. Now that you're, working with the NFL. Jay-Z was a supporter of Kaepernick when he took the knee. Now Jay-Z is saying, okay, taking the knee was nice, but now we have to do some more actionable items. I literally wrote a piece where I said to, someone who questioned it, I wrote that the Players Coalition is doing real work in the community. On our show at Ben and Barry, we reviewed their site. We're impressed by their work in the courts with law enforcement and community. As a Niner fan, I watched Kaepernick as he moved to social awareness. I am proud of his intentions. I wondered why he did not fight to remain with the only team that supported him, and what made him think that the other teams would want him. After all, they are all Republicans. As a matter of fact, something came out. They're already complaining because I think the owner, one of the guys who has a majority share in the Dolphins, donated to the Trump campaign.
Right.
So people want to.
He's not the only one. He's not the only one. The others just haven't come public.
No, the other ones have done it, and it's public too if you actually look it up. But
Right.
in most of them, you'll see that they also donated to the Democratic campaign. It's
Right.
kind of what business people do. They give to both. They're just trying to curry favor with both sides. But however, this one guy had a long relationship with Trump.
Okay.
And so, but the thing that I'm saying is that when he decided not to really try to go after that job with the Niners, when he stepped away from the Niners and went towards free agency, what made him wonder after he was walking around, with, F the pigs on his socks. And, it's funny when you see them go from just a regular guy to the aware revolutionary, like the hair changes and all the things that, you wear the Black Power medallion all of a sudden. I've seen people go, I went through that. We kind of all went through that.
Yeah, we all did it in college, though.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then to be complaining about, like you're not getting a job after you already settled with the NFL. You and Eric Reed got paid, for, what they did to you already. So, if you were to go back, if you really wanted to play, this to me was the perfect time to show a level of positivity, to not go try to stab another brother in the back and complain because he's trying to move forward. Like you're the only one who can have a social agenda. Nobody else can have this social agenda. This is yours. That's just, it's not helpful. And to me, he really needs to, as you said, let it be. If you want to play football, you know what the deal is in the NFL. I'm not saying that the NFL is all good or all bad. It's America. It is what it is. Racism ain't new. It's been around. Jim Brown used to talk about how they used to do things to him in the pile, when he was playing. So, anyone who knows the history of the NFL, knows the history of sports, knows that the history of America went along with it. It's just par for the course. Racism is not new. But, we're doing a lot better than what we have been doing. The NFL put up a ton of money. They're going to work with Jay-Z. If Jay-Z were to get an owner share, which has been floated, okay, hey, I would love to see more Black ownership in the NFL. That's a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
That's what I was thinking. Like, why is this a bad thing?
Why? Because it's not his thing.
because it's not his thing.
Yeah, and I think that's where the problem is. It's like, if you're not with me, you're against me, and he's not understanding that it's bigger than him. And again, as I said before, if by kneeling you were, you could say, I saved a life, like a police officer did not shoot somebody because I knelt, I'd be pushing kneeling like a big champ. I don't think there's any evidence that anybody stopped anything because you're kneeling. You brought a lot of awareness to the situation, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Who are doing this, the law officers who are doing this, your kneeling only pissed them off more and gave them more of an excuse to do what they were doing. It was an excuse. There's no reason, but that's just how a lot of, the people who are big with law enforcement, big with the military, big with the flag, they all took umbrance at it in many cases. Those are, it's not the black officers shooting the black people, or like what happened in New York, with Garner with the chokehold, that officer was fired, but he wasn't incarcerated, he wasn't convicted or anything like that. So it's going to take a lot of work and coming together, not pulling apart, like, oh, you're not following the Kaepernick way, you're not kneeling, you're not doing this, Jason.
There is no Kaepernick way.
There is no Kaepernick way. That's the challenge. So I'm going to leave that at that. I am a Kaepernick fan. I had been a Kaepernick fan. I was a Niner fan. So like you with the Giants, it hurts me to see, him not in the NFL, not getting a chance to play. I really would like to see what he could do, especially in this new NFL where the quarterback you can't hardly touch the guy. That's going to change the thing for mobile quarterbacks. Is there anything that saves the mobile quarterback from my theory about a running quarterback getting hurt? It's all of these new rules that are coming up, So it might be a time when he would really be able to come in and shine as a quarterback, but he's not going to do it.
It's not going to happen, and it's not going to happen because he's not going to do the things that are necessary to push his agenda forward. Anybody who's played in the NFL and knows the ways of the NFL know that if by some chance you lose your position that or are no longer with the team that you started with, that there are things you have to do to secure a new position back on the field in the NFL. There's things that you have to do, things that have been done by other players in the past who were serious about playing again. And for him to have his history with the NFL, as far as the suit and the settlement is concerned, to then turn around and say, yeah, I want to play, but I want to dictate the terms. I want to go somewhere I want to start, and I don't want to have to try out and all this crazy stuff. Like, dude, that's not going to happen. So for you to say that, to me, tells me that you just want to be heard, but you don't ever really want to play. If you wanted to play, you'd be grinding somewhere, not making commercials working out. You'd be grinding somewhere.
Okay, there we go. So that wraps up this segment of Ben and Barry and football. We had a pretty good segment. We talked about week 2. We talked about week 3. We talked about some great things in social media, some of the things that the NFL is doing. We didn't mention the young lady, Carly Lloyd, who kicked the 55-yard field goal at the Eagles.
Oh yeah, that's my other rant. I knew there was something about that when you mentioned.
You got a rant about Carly Lloyd?
Yeah. So listen, the I'm trying to make it short. The Ravens and the Eagles are scrimmaging this week in practice, and then they're going to play each other in the preseason game coming up, right?
Right.
So turns out that Carly is from New Jersey, and they had their victory parade and everything in New York City after they won the World Cup. So she got up and she gave a little speech and thanked the fans and this, that, and the other. And then she said, I love it in New York and all, I'm so close. I'm a Jersey girl. Although I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I have been all my life. Fly, Eagles, fly. And everybody's like, what? But I think that may have prompted them to have her come on down when she got some free time, because they're all very busy. They're giving speeches and talks and dinners and motivational speakers and all that stuff. And she had some free time to come to camp, and she kicked a 55-yard field goal. My rant is people on Twitter attacked her for taking a 4-step run-up instead of kicking it like a real NFL kicker. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She nailed that John right down the middle, 55 yards. And they're crying. Yeah, they're trying to tarnish it.
She didn't take this. You know, my wife actually picked up on the part that she didn't. They take the steps. Now they start at the ball, they walk back, the steps, you do the 4
Right.
up like you were saying. My wife actually picked up that she didn't do that either.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, why would you cry though? I mean, you know, that to me, to be able to do it the way she did it, as opposed to with the 4 steps, means that she can do it. I don't care how you look at it.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. She could.
It's not like it helped her.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
She nailed that.
She nailed it. Accuracy, the whole bit. If she were to be given a position, she would be the first woman to be on an active NFL player roster, first woman player. There's been some women who have tried out and some things of that nature, but they
High
haven't
school
actually
teams, college
gotten
teams.
on a roster, especially a 53-man roster in the NFL. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but in today's kicking world, hey, look, a 55-yarder is a 55-yarder. I keep thinking about the Bears. Like, they need a kicker.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
All right. That's all for today. Any last words, Mr. Dickerson?
Enjoy this weekend's slate of games. They should be interesting. A little bit more fun than the first two. If you haven't watched the first two, this is the one you want to watch. Other than that, I'll just say go Noles.
All right. Everyone have a great day. Thanks.